In today's informative speech, we're going to be talking about the different ways power is produced and why nuclear is a good alternative to the other forms of energy out there. Now, out of all the different types of energy that is produced, which one's the best? Many people have been wondering what that is for some time now. And you got all different types. You got solar, wind, hydroelectric, coal, natural gas, nuclear, and probably a few others. Here in Alaska, we have some that are powered by the tide. And I believe there was some study done a while back where if we lined the entire coast of Alaska with these wave generation units, it would have enough power for the entire state plus extra to go down to Seattle, for instance. But we're not going to talk about that today. We're going to be talking about nuclear. I enjoy nuclear power because I think it is the future. However, my opinion shouldn't have any effect on you. Now, we're going to be talking about the emissions first because everyone talks about how fossil fuels are polluting the atmosphere and how nuclear power has too much toxic waste. It's yes and no. All of the atmospheric byproducts of nuclear energy come from the mining process, which is roughly about 3 tons of CO2. In the grand scheme of things, that's really not that much. That's in comparison to oil and coal, that is almost 200. What was the statistic? It was 273 times less than coal. Now, it just makes more sense to use it. However, when it comes to nuclear waste, with the byproducts after you get that, there's many different storage facilities for that. Typically, they're underground salt mines that have been used up already. It's the perfect geology to store nuclear waste, and it's away from public areas. It's not going to seep into groundwater. These old salt mines are perfect environment for nuclear waste, and many federal agencies have bought up old salt mines specifically for that purpose. Now, about 18% of the US's power is done by nuclear energy. Majority is done by coal or natural gas. Now, when it comes to actual energy production, one uranium pellet can produce the same amount of energy as 1 ton of coal, about 17,000 cubic feet of natural gas, or 149 gallons of oil. Now, what that means is for less input is the same output as the majority of most power. Now, when it comes to the mining process, we're going to circle back to that because we're mainly worried about atmospheric byproducts right now. That's the main focus everyone's worried about, is what's going into the atmosphere. And another focus would be the groundwater, but we'll get to that here in a second. Into the atmosphere, only about 3 tons of CO2 are produced, and that only comes from the mining process. Most of it's underground strip mining. They take the rock, they then take it to a facility where it's crushed into a powder, and from that powder it is separated to the all the waste product, and then you get the uranium. Now, uranium by itself can't really do much. It has to be enriched because it's a different isotope than what you need. So they put it through an enrichment facility, and they make these little pellets that they load into the fuel rods, and then it boils water. Basically, that's pretty much all power is. You're boiling water or some other mechanized form, whether that be an internal combustion motor, boiling water to spin a turbine. All it is spinning turbines with magnets to generate electricity. That is all that it is. And we've been doing it the same way for pretty much since we've been generating electricity. This is just a more efficient way. In the modern era, what we've done is we've added in windmills, hydroelectric dams, and solar panels. Now, the main difference between all of those and nuclear, for solar, you have to have a very large acreage. You have to have a large field that gets lots of sunlight. For instance, the Arizona desert. It just takes up too much space. everyone says it's green, it's the green alternative. Well, when you look out in the field and you see nothing but solar panels, you don't see any nature, it kind of defeats the whole purpose. Then you have windmills. In Wyoming, they have windmills, and it's a big industry down there. However, in the wintertime, they tend to freeze up, and they have to de-ice the blades on the windmills, kind of like how they do with airplanes when they're de-icing the wings. Now, when those blades inevitably break or wear out, what do you do with them? They're not recyclable, so they have to bury them in the ground. And that's been a huge controversial topic for the residents of Wyoming and Montana. They really don't like that. They don't like the wind turbine companies encroaching on their land. Now, another facet would be hydroelectric dams. Honestly, that's probably the closest you can get to the best green energy, in my opinion. The only downside I can really see would be it would change the environment, because you would have to have a large water basin to control the output of the water to spin your turbines. Now, it would change the ecology downstream because you're limiting the water flow. It would change the ecology upstream because you're creating a larger water basin. With nuclear, you only need a very small footprint. You need a very small footprint on a waterfront, preferably fresh water, so you don't degrade the system with salt water, so a river or a larger lake. Now, the problem lies in how to construct these. Not many power plants in the United States can be transferred into nuclear power plants. It's very, very difficult. There has to be a lot of checks and balances and a lot of safety procedures, zoning, licensing, funding. It's just not doable without the proper funding and the proper people in place to get these up and running. However, there is a lot of research going into taking molten salt. It's a molten salt power plant that they're studying on how to transfer it into a nuclear power plant. It's the closest power plant we can get to being able to retrofit. Preferably, we like to build one new. However, it's very, very expensive, so they're looking into the process of switching over and retrofitting the old ones. And we went through a lot of information over the past, oh my goodness, 7 minutes, 30 seconds. A little bit over the time limit, but hopefully a bit longer is a bit better. Long story short, nuclear power is safe, clean, and efficient. If you have any questions, please contact me. I don't know why I just said that.